themselves. It's that serious.
That doesn't raise my brows. It should.
How Amber Rose is fighting back against sexual bullying.
What do you think's the best way for people to deal with this?
And
some doctors are becoming cosmetic surgeons in a weekend.
In fact, you could be getting liposuction from a dentist.
I am so glad we are having
Cell phones, radiation, and a new law that will expose the dangers it passed. Plus, Sandra Lee's cancer surgery. All new on the Doctors.
In celebrity gossip blogs in small towns across America, a single word has given life to a new kind of bullying that's shaming women about their own sexuality.
Kanye West's ex, Amber Rose, speaks out for the first time about her epic Twitter battle with Khloe Kardashian.
I mean, I don't hate Khloe. I don't hate her. She didn't have to tweet 11 times and try to humiliate me.
Then, Amber brought Kanye into the feud by posting this pic that called out Kim's sex tape. He hit back.
I had to take 30 showers before I got with Kim.
Saying that he had to take 30 showers after we were happy when we were together, and now all of a sudden I'm getting slut-shamed because we're not together anymore, and it's unfair. And I feel like women deal with that constantly on a daily basis.
I started the Unslut Project back in the spring of 2013 because I had heard a bunch of stories of girls who had taken their own lives because of slut shaming, and it resonated with me because 15 years earlier I had been labeled the school slut at age 11. I understood the desire to escape that reputation by taking your own life. One afternoon after school in 6th grade, my then boyfriend and his best friend convinced me to stick his hands down my pants. I kept saying, no, I don't want to. People are going to call me a slut. Are you going to tell people what happened? And they kept reassuring me, we're not going to tell anyone. So I let this happen. My boyfriend and his best friend went to school and told that I talked him into going to third base. I was having sex with older guys. They changed my life that day. They had decided that I was a slut. I shouldn't have been shamed in that way. So it's not enough to just kind of blame society and say, well, that's the way things are, that's the way they've always been. It doesn't have to be. We have the power to change it.
Joining us now is Emily, the founder of the Unslut Project, and Amber Rose, who is campaigning against sexual bullying. Welcome to you both. So glad.
Thank you.
Ashamed of herself than to do some of this slut shaming, whether it's an ex-boyfriend, whether it's whether it's on a big scale or a small scale. This is something us have dealt with in a small way, but you ladies are taking on the nation to kind of change this. So I'm really proud to have you here and addressing this topic that affects so many women. So my first question, particularly for you, Amber, you're going through a messy divorce. How do you as a person get up the next day and send that tweet out that fights back instead of just being ashamed and just hiding your...
Well, I feel like that I can be the face to help girls have the confidence to just move forward. It's like, you know what? I'm a mom. I had a baby. I'm proud of my body. I worked out. And no one is ever gonna get me down ever again.
Wow, I love it. Because that's what I was going to ask. Because you still continue to do the butt shots, and you still look fantastic.
Trust
so is
me,
that
I do
part
it
of
on
that?
purpose.
Well, good for you. Don't stop doing it. I mean, sometimes you can't stop the haters. They're going to be there no matter what you do, and I guess
it's kind of like when you make fun of yourself before anyone else can.
There you go.
And that's what I do. And women that don't understand, they also slut shame me. Listen, every woman in this room has done something that they probably regret or look back on and be like, maybe I shouldn't have done that. But we're here. Me and her, we're here. We're here to be a voice. We're here to help you with and really not be ashamed of being a sexual being. It's okay.
Emily, your story was extremely poignant because it started when you were young. Having heard your story right there, I love the title of your project, Unslut Project. And it's because I think, hearing your story, it's incumbent upon all of us, parents, educators, everyone, especially if this mentality starts in youngsters' heads. you know, oh, Emily, you're a slut, blah, blah, blah. Like, you cannot, at that age, I imagine, have the maturity to defend yourself.
Of course not. And it's unique among different types of bullying, because when you're sexually bullied, when you're slut-shamed as a child, as a preteen, or even as a teenager, and as an adult, you can't depend on your parents to be on your side. But with sexual bullying, a lot of adults have the impulse to ask, well, what did you do to bring that upon yourself?
Sure.
Maybe you should look at yourself.
So then, since slut has been around for so long, and we've all been called it in some way, shape, or form, do you embrace the word then? Do you just say, okay, well, I mean, I did it, and if you want to call me a slut, that's fine? Or do we try to change the word? Do we just try to, you know, push the word off to the side? What do you think's the best way for people to deal with this?
Some women try to embrace it, and I think on an individual basis, like, I know women who like to be called a slut in the bedroom. Sure. And that's fine. If it makes you feel sex confident, go for it. I think we need to undo the entire idea of a slut. That's why I call my project the Unslut Project, because they're undoing centuries since the beginning of recorded time in most cultures. This idea of slut versus good girl, you know, virgin whore dichotomy has existed, and we need to unlearn that.
So my question is to you, Emily, for this to stop, it really has to stop at a younger age, where boys cultivate these ideas and like, oh, you slut, and you know, it's almost a get out of jail free card for a guy. Sure. You know, maybe he gets dumped by his girlfriend.
Exactly, exactly.
Instead of dealing with it maturely, the reaction is, oh, she's just a slut, whether he even believes it or not.
Yes.
So is there a way, you know, part of the Unslut Project is obviously empowering women, but is there a way we can hopefully empower young men to just say, you know what, grow up. Like, you know, don't call her a slut. She's not a slut. You know, she broke up with you.
I'll speak as a mother. I have a son. And it makes my job as a mom a bit harder, which is okay, because I have to really teach my son to respect women. And it comes from the parents. Are maybe seeing their fathers call their mothers sluts, or their mothers are like, oh, he's just a little boy, you know, it's okay, he can just say whatever he wants, he'll grow out of it. And it really gets to a point where teenage girls are killing themselves. I mean, it's that serious. And especially with social media nowadays, it's extreme. Imagine when our kids grow up, how it's going to be. It's going to be much worse.
The fact that suicide rates among 10 to 14-year-olds has increased 50% in the last 30 years. If that doesn't raise some eyebrows, it should.
And 25% of all women say that they have encountered some form of online sexual harassment.
I would say it's even higher than that, honestly. I mean, I know that the women that I hear from are getting in touch with me specifically. But the online harassment that I get as an activist online, it blows my mind almost every day. Someone says something to me, and I'm not even famous, you know. I can't even imagine the people who are in the public eye. And I think it's important for parents to take the opportunity, like when a celebrity is slut-shamed publicly, to not just let it sit, to use it as an in to start a conversation with your kids and say, what do you think about that? Because, you know, you can't protect your children from everything in the world, and there's actually no way to really avoid being slut-shamed as a woman, because it's not
I make the case that slut is one of those words that just has such a bad connotation. It's one of those words we should try to avoid, men and women.
Well, I like that idea. I mean, and your concept of slut is you can kind of mold it and use it for whatever you want. Because if you give the word too much power, then when someone calls you it, then you're crying in your bedroom. So how often then, ladies, do you recommend? You know, I do this a lot with teenagers and people who are depressed. Kind of a break from social media. Kind of, you have to come off of it, because if people are really harassing you and it's mostly on social media, just to kind of take a hiatus from it so that you can look at it. Do you, either one of you, ever just say, you know, let me get off of here because this is too painful?
I do as an adult, but for a lot of kids who don't know a world without the internet and have never been alive without social media, there's no division. There's not like real life and the internet. It's fluid. And so it's not really useful, in my opinion, to think of a solution as being just shut off your computer, just back away. We need to teach them media literacy and how to interact with what they see and how to think critically about it. not just absorb
toughen
it.
up.
Well,
Yeah.
it's this whole idea of sexual bullying. It's not just via social media. It doesn't really know one culture, one age, and Stevie's story exemplifies that. Let's have a look.
I was dating a boy at the end of summer going into my senior year. I had a few people over at my house, including him. We were drinking, having a good time. The next thing I know, I woke up in the morning and I turned to my boyfriend and I said, "Did we have sex last night?" And he said, "Yeah." A few months passed and my boyfriend and I broke up. And about a week later, I was coming out of class and one of my friends came up to me and said, "Stevie, this is bad." And everyone had known that it was me in the video. That's when all the slut shaming and all the name calling and bullying and cyberbullying, all that started coming about. It's really difficult because I went from being someone who's thought of as a slut or a porn star. I want people to know people don't want to take the side of someone who is looked upon in such a negative light. That girl, I mean, she's a slut. That's awful. Everyone knew this boy. No one thought this would happen. No one thought this would happen.
Stevie now joins us. And Stevie, how did you get in touch with Emily?
I actually contacted her on Facebook and I was like, "Hi, I love your project. Just want to let you know how amazing I think this is." I wrote my story and then we just kind of got in touch from that. And she said that my story really moved her and now we're here.
And is Stevie the classic example of...
Yes. Hearing from girls who've survived sexual bullying, slut shaming at some point in their lives outweighs all of the harassment that we were talking about earlier that we get online. It's a reminder of exactly why. Just letting girls know that they're not alone, that I've survived it, that many of us have survived different types of sexual bullying, and that we can not just survive, but live awesome, fulfilled lives. I speak to girls who go through this because I'm not a clinical psychologist or a therapist or even a sexologist at all. I try to model behavior that I think everyone can employ. If a girl comes to you as maybe she's your daughter or just a stranger online who you see as being slut-shamed, you can always start by saying three things. I hear you, I believe you, and I support you. And what that support looks like depends on your relationship with her and what she's comfortable with and really what she needs. So I think I always start with asking, what do you need, rather than assuming that I know.
And Stevie, getting back to your story, I know you were devastated.
Yeah.
Where are you at now, emotionally?
It's hard. Sorry, I can get emotional, but I mean, day by day, things seem like they're getting better, but you always think about it. Your past, you can't erase your past. That's what I always like to think, is that you can't erase your past, but you can move forward. And I mean, I wrote on my blog last night, I'm going to be on The Doctors talking about what happened to me in 2013. Immediately after, there were tweets from my ex-boyfriend's friends, "Stevie's a slut. What's mentally wrong with Stevie?" Like, just completely people that I'm here and I'm going to talk about it and I'm proud of who I am. I'm proud of what I've done, and I may not always be proud of my past. Sorry.
I took nude pictures for a boy that I was in love with at the time, and someone that worked for me leaked them to the internet.
Right.
And please don't ever, because I'm famous, that it was easier for me.
Right. No, it's not.
Because it wasn't. And at that time, I first met my husband. I just met his family. Mm-hmm. I was crying every day, like, oh my God, they're gonna hate me. This is never gonna work. Like, why did I do this? Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, you have us. We're here for you. We've been through a lot.
Right.
And everything's gonna be fine. We're all human. We're all sexual beings. It's okay.
I'm ashamed. Think of this scenario to any young man out there watching. You make an illicit tape or take pictures of your girlfriend, and you leak it, and then you and your friends shame your ex-girlfriend. Mm-hmm. Shame on you. The shame is on the boys who do this, and what makes me so sad in your TV is that these boys are still doing it.
Right.
So shame on you guys. Shame on you.
Grow up. Grow up and man up. I mean, Amber, what is your advice for women out there as far as, sometimes it is fun and to make videos.
And have fun and dance.
And have fun,
and be
right.
yourself.
But it's such a double-edged sword.
Well, there's nothing wrong with it. I feel like these guys, they're on Instagram and they talk about all the sex that they have with these women, and it's just like, oh, I had one girl this night and the other girl this night and blah, blah, blah. But if I post a picture of me in a bikini on the beach, I'm a slut.
Right.
It's not fair, and I'm done with it. I'm completely done.
You know, and if this is my humble opinion, I've always said this, if there is a silver lining in this, again, coming from one of the men up here, in my experience, the guys that I know who slut-shamed, who actually bullied women, if I could say look at them now, wouldn't be that impressed.
My ex-boyfriend has a mugshot, and I'm sitting here in LA. So.
And that's, you know, so we're all in this together, and I actually want to applaud all three of you for raising awareness, and my hope is that people at home are watching, realizing this is a legit...
I'm having an Amber Rose slut walk this summer in LA. I want all the girls to come, wear whatever the hell you want, and we're gonna protest, and we're gonna have the time of our lives, and I would like to invite you to, and you also. So I would like to invite you to come to my slut walk and wear thigh highs and a little bra. I'll let you wear some shorts, but you have to dress like a slut. I'm inviting you.
It has to be a
come.
You've done this before.
I've done it before. I mean, this is not a new thing for me, but it's been years. I'm trying to picture myself in that outfit. I think I outgrew it.
Pursuant to this discussion, we're going to start a movement on our website, thedoctorstv.com. We want people to go take our pledge to stop slut-shaming. Your words carry weight, and sexual bullying of any kind has to stop. We're committed to the health of women every week, but it's especially important because this week is the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services National Women's Health Week. The Doctors and Women's Health magazine are proud to raise awareness, but also to empower women. Ladies, thanks again for being here. Thanks again for being here. We'll be right back.
Coming up next, the latest cosmetic surgery scam. Protect yourself. And later, a woman with a skin condition so severe she won't even face her boyfriend without makeup.
I don't want to have to hide for the rest of my life.
That's later. Coming tomorrow. Ladies, listen up. Ladies, listen up. We're revealing what men really love most about your body. Then, disturbing ultrasound images.
That just shouldn't be.
One mom is doing to her baby. Plus,
it's one of the most complicated cases I've ever worked on.
An amazing makeover.
Look at that smile!
That takes a surprising turn. And
everything I wasn't looking for. And she ended up being everything I needed.
An adoption miracle. And then on Monday, the war over pesticides.
Anytime cancer associated with food raises concern.
And the company making headlines is here to answer the tough questions.
I'm absolutely confident of the data behind it.
Then, how the
How many years of training do you think a doctor needs to perform liposuction or other invasive cosmetic procedures? Well, we polled our social media followers to find out, and the majority of you said 4 years, then 7 years, or at least 2, but guess what? It's none of those. In fact, what if I told you some doctors are becoming cosmetic surgeons in a weekend?
If you do a little digging, you'll find doctors who say they're cosmetic surgeons, but in actuality don't have any relative training in cosmetic surgery whatsoever. In fact, you could be getting liposuction from a doctor who took a weekend course. I found course after course offering to teach doctors liposuction. All they needed were a medical license.
You know, I've talked on the show before, as have you, that if you're not a plastic surgeon or a dermatologist, it doesn't mean there aren't advertisements showing up in your specialties magazines that say, hey, come to Las Vegas for this weekend and learn how to do these cosmetic procedures. And there's nothing illegal about it.
And I think what you're talking about is your magazines, your emergency medicine magazines. I mean, they're trying to get ER docs, I'm sure Family Practice does it too, to get them to come do these weekend courses and quote unquote become a cosmetic surgeon literally over the weekend. The answer to that question was 7 years of training, and that's either 4 or 5 of general surgery.
Now this is after After medical school.
Now it's 3 years of plastic surgery on top of that to be a qualified plastic surgeon. And really the only one you want to go to, as we said, is the board certified plastic surgeon. We only produce 200 of those per year.
That's the thing here. Everyone needs to realize that, yes, if you get your medical degree, you are called a doctor. But there's nothing beyond that where there's a requirement where if I put cosmetic surgeon, Dr. Travis Stork, cosmetic surgeon, open for business tomorrow, there is nothing illegal about that. Literally, nothing at all illegal. It may be unsavory.
Yeah.
Because truth is, you probably wouldn't like your results.
Skill there.
Yeah,
Right.
I learned how to do other things. And so the one caveat here is that it doesn't mean that there aren't doctors out there who aren't plastic surgeons, who aren't good at this.
Sure.
But the reality is I'd rather have someone who has more training than less doing these procedures.
I mean, it's the learning curve. If you do a weekend course, do you want to be that first patient that he tries it out on Monday morning?
No.
I don't think so. That's why it's years and years in training, and it's always harder to fix, to bring back a bad result than to do it right the first time.
So in medicine, we become medical doctors, and if we pass our boards, we can truly practice medicine. The reason we all go to residency is to become board certified in a given specialty. There's a reason why, Drew, if you're doing an operation of breast augmentation, you're not intubating the patient. The anesthesiologist is doing that. You're focused on your job, and I think it's really important that we as doctors are very truthful with what our strengths and weaknesses are. All too often, especially in today's day and age, and look, why is this happening? We were talking beforehand. Reimbursement rates for family practitioners, as an example, it's gotten so low. Talking with a patient about diabetes for an hour may get you $10.
If that, get you a little more than
well, no, what I'm saying is in many scenarios, I just want everyone to really understand, as opposed to doing a few injections in 10 minutes
or liposuction,
it's hundreds to thousands.
It's a cash business. You may have to wait months and months to get paid on that. But getting back to what you said, you have to be so careful as a consumer. I mean, anybody can create a very slick website.
Yeah.
They can get photos before and afters anywhere. They can post this name of a group that a consumer may not, oh, it looks legit, it sounds legit, but it's not.
I think the takeaway here is the only way you're going to know is if you check references, look up the credentials, make sure before you ever allow anyone to inject anything, to take anything out, you know beyond a shadow of a doubt that they know what they're doing, that their entire staff knows what they're doing.
And make sure they're on a hospital. Yes. Because if they do something to you in their office that they can't fix, and they are not on staff at any of the local hospitals, guess what? They can't follow your case. They can't take care of you in the hospital, and now you're just kind of this patient with this open wound that they have to refer somebody else.
The good news here is, obviously, we all believe this. The great majority of doctors out there are knowledgeable, wonderful, doing the right thing. Just buyer beware, because for those few nefarious characters out there, we don't want you to have so much more to come. Please stick around.
Coming up next, a woman with a skin condition so severe she won't even face her boyfriend without makeup.
I don't want to have to hide for the rest of my life.
And later, what is the most popular internet search in your state? That's later. Coming tomorrow.
Here and there, it's a little annoying, but usually temporary. But imagine going your whole life with skin problems so bad that you never ever let anyone see you without makeup.
I really, really hope that someday that I can go without having to wear makeup. It's really difficult to talk about, but that is just what I really hope for someday. Instead of having to hide behind two layers of makeup and hide from people 2 hours every day long putting on the makeup. I have a pigment disorder called melasma, and I've been suffering with this disorder for about 5 years now. It's really just big, blotchy, brown mess on my skin. There's a lot of white blotches. It kind of looks like just a crazy It's just such a pain. I'm afraid to take off my makeup in front of my roommate. If I ever stay over with my boyfriend, I don't wash off my makeup. I'm too afraid to show my real self. I've been seeing a dermatologist for a long time. I went through Roaccutane, bleaching creams, chemical peels, laser treatments, and I'm not seeing any results from anything. When I wake up, I'll wash my face, and then I'll follow up with an Axone acne cream, and then I'll cover my face with 2 coats of high pigment foundation, and then for the really troublesome areas, I'll use a concealer. So I have to spend 2 hours putting on makeup before I get up in the morning and go work out, or swimming and surfing because my makeup will wash off in the water. It's a frustrating thing to have to deal with, and I don't want to have to hide for the rest of my life.
Christina joins us now along with board-certified dermatologist Dr. Sonia Batra. And Christina, I know that this isn't easy because you're here on our stage and everyone realizes this without makeup.
Yeah, this is hard. The only person that's seen me without makeup is my mom. So this is very difficult. And I hope that sharing my story will help others with the same disorder.
And for the record, I'm a very honest person, and I know you're dealing with a skin condition, but you're beautiful.
Thank you so much.
You are. And Dr. Batra, the blessing nowadays, and this is why you're here. Obviously, you have the beautiful technology of laser, which can really help. Now, you already have numbing cream on, do you not?
Yes.
Okay. So why don't you talk us through, as you know, what this treatment does?
So absolutely. So Christy, I'm going to have you come back and just lie back. And so this is a fractional CO2 laser. And Christy has tried kind of the really common things that are used for melasma, which include fading creams, chemical peels, some of the lighter lasers that are non-ablative, that don't really take off that top layer of the skin. This is a laser longer wavelength that penetrates a little bit more deeply, and it's absorbed by the water in the skin. So it actually heats and takes off that top layer, which contains all that excess pigment. But the interesting thing about melasma is that even though this is meant to be sort of a one-time or event, it can often come back, so anyone with melasma having any sort of treatment has to maintain with a fading cream. And then the other aspect is that it's so critical to use a broad-spectrum mineral-based sunscreen, because we do think that there's a strong component of heat in melasma, and some of the chemical blocks can trigger heat.
So let's go ahead and cover up. We're going to cover up Christy's eyes.
You can work and answer questions both at the same time.
Absolutely.
Right?
And the reason the cream is on is just because lasers can be a little painful.
It's like a little snap with a rubber band. And Sonia, in this particular case with Christina, I mean, you're treating, correct?
Exactly. So we're trying to target both the pigment as well as some of the divots and texture change that have occurred from the acne she's already had. So we're really just trying to very carefully do a single pass here, and the reason this is safe text is because it's absorbed by the water in her skin, and it's a longer wavelength laser that's going to really just cause her to peel off that top layer that has the excess pigment.
So what are we seeing happen to the skin as you laser that?
So that it is fractional, and so it's almost like a grid pattern if you look closely. And that's because we're leaving islands of the skin that aren't being treated or heated by the laser, and that really expedites the recovery and makes it much less likely to cause any additional pigment change or any scarring.
And so after this, obviously, she's going to have to be careful out in the sun for a while. There's going to be some residual effects. And while we let you finish, I just want to ask, say, how does it feel?
It's not bad.
And as far as emotionally, how does it feel to know that you're on the road? You're on the road to clearing up your skin.
I'm so thankful. I'm so happy.
Well, we're going to finish this treatment during break. Dr. Batra, always a pleasure. Thank you both so much for being here. We'll be right back.
Coming up, what is the most popular internet search in your state? And later, Having trouble with odors in your home? We're prescribing the scent solution that may already be in your cupboard. That's later.
Closed captioning provides.
Together, we can create hold that knows how to move. Caraflex Hairspray by John Frieda, infused with carrot brushable hold. No frizz. Me and John and Frizzies. Together, we can.
Would you like to be a Publishers Clearinghouse winner next month? You can win $2 million plus $10,000 a month for life and enter at PCH.com, and June 30th, you could win it all.
You make my dreams come true.
Weed, Botox, daycare, and vasectomy. What did you Google today? A new study by Fixer.com tracked America's obsessions, and they couldn't be more different state. From facelifts in California to fishing licenses in Montana, Fixer tracked Google autocomplete predictions of search services popular in the Northeast, liquor licenses and weed, the Northwest, water and liposuction. From sea to shining sea, we now have a clear map of just how different our priorities can be.
My state, Indiana, obsessed with breast implants.
I'm surprised by that.
Really?
Yeah,
I'm surprised by that.
The boob states unequivocally are Florida, Texas, and California.
Texas, too.
Oh, Texas, they're looking big.
So let me go ahead and give you one of the state mottos for Colorado, where I was born.
All right. Uh-oh.
So basically, Colorado, you know, there's mountains. You know, the cool slogan now is Colorado, we're higher than you. The session, of course, right now is weed. State to state, obviously, priorities are very different.
That
was like how to find a pound of weed in New York was a very common Google search, I guess.
That's interesting.
You know, apparently in Tennessee and Mississippi, DNA testing's a big one. Which I don't know if that's like, I did not follow that big. Whoops. I don't know.
That's not exactly a positive.
These are the top searches in these states. Apparently in Arizona and South Dakota, vasectomy is a top search.
Well, I know Arizona's a big retirement area. People are done. They've had their families.
They want to go ahead and
get clipped.
And this one I absolutely love. And this is why a state like Montana is so true to itself.
There you go.
Top search, how to get a fishing license. I mean, that's awesome. So, be honest with me. Have you ever been in a hotel room and you've just really loved something in that hotel room? Maybe the robe, the towel, and you've taken it? Oh, look, there's no police officers here.
I mean, mention something I haven't taken. I mean, robes for sure, towels for sure.
Well, there's a reason why you may want to rethink the next time you're thinking about pilfering that towel from the hotel room. Check it out.
Pillows, linens, towels, oh my. How many of these items have made the trip home with you after checking out of your hotel room? Well, hotels aren't taking this theft lying. Enter the Linen Tracker, a little device that acts like a GPS for hotel towels and linens. Hotels across the country are secretly using them to fight back against theft. Are you and your towel being tracked?
Now, Drew, you're stealing. You're stealing bathrobes. I know you got an invoice.
Yeah, I got an invoice.
Okay. Now, what I have taken, we went to a really nice resort, and they had these great beach towels. I mean, they had this beautiful stripe down the middle.
That's the kind of towel that's going to have one of these little chips on it.
So you mine has a tracker.
Check your credit card.
I'm going to cut it off. And toss it. But I think Travis is the only one up here who hasn't ran off with a couple little things.
I mean, I will take, like, for instance, if the lotion is, or the...
Well, they want you to take the lotion.
But that's all good.
I mean, those companies...
So I'll fire that up, bring it home, and what's funny about it is that's a habit I learned from my mom. I mean, I literally, growing up, never wanted normal shampoo. It was always a little 1.5 ouncer from, Super 8 Motel 6. And I mean, I'm telling you, all the lotions in the house, all the soaps, every single one. Days In. That's my memory. I still have some of those, in fact. So I don't know. The takeaway here may just be, if you're going, I mean, obviously, don't
take away. This is bad to steal. All the children watching, do not steal. Don't do what we did. Do what Travis did.
More to come. Stick around.
Coming up next, the low-calorie recipes.
Who doesn't love a good brunch? But did you know this favorite pastime can easily add up to the same amount of calories as 2 separate meals? It's true, and we set Dr. Berman up with celebrity fitness trainer Jorge Cruz to make decadent brunch food that won't put you into a carb coma.
Okay, so what are the key ingredients in there?
So the secret, of course, flax meal.
Right.
Almond milk is very low in sugar, almond butter, baking powder, and egg whites.
Okay, so all of that ingredient.
Yep.
Okay, and then when we're done with the pancake, can you put syrup?
I put a little butter, and then I'm going to show you something better than syrup, a little bit of whipped cream, which only has less than 1 sugar gram. So that's key to keeping the pounds down. Yeah. So this is our pancake. I use whipped cream instead of syrup, and you put butter on them. Isn't that really good? And the flax gives it that nice weight that's like a real pancake or a muffin, you know? And then I like to dip into the whipped cream.
Like a muffin, exactly.
This is my favorite thing. I make this with my family. It's a blueberry velvet muffin. Now the secret here is this no-carb flour, almond flour.
Almond flour.
Super delicious. 4 eggs, melted butter, just a small amount of xylitol,
For sweetness.
salt, baking powder, and of course blueberries.
Yum!
And we're going to mix this all together, and it's going to be amazing. Now this is the blueberry velvet muffin.
I'm telling you, something tastes simple about it. This cannot be healthy for me.
It is. It's going to help you have an amazing brunch.
I don't understand why this is tasting so great and so good.
Good. Yeah, we
I'm
made them
in.
good for you.
I'm totally in.
I love it. Thank you so much.
And if you want more recipes and nutrition tips from Jorge Cruz, you can check out his book. It's called Stubborn Fat Gone. And all of you in the audience are going home with a copy. From obnoxious odors to stubborn stains, check out these cool DIY hacks to remove daily little annoyances.
Did you know you can remove stains from sneakers with nail polish remover? And what about that sticky leftover eyelash glue? Rub a small amount of gel to your eyelid and poof, it's gone. If you get an oil stain on your favorite leather handbag, simply coat it with some baby powder and let it stand overnight. And lipstick stains on clothing? Not after you spray it with some hairspray. Shoes? Just place a fabric softener sheet or dry tea bags inside of them overnight. And in the morning, the smell should be gone.
Fun tips to help you remove those little things that maybe bug you in your life.
What's that? And if you'd like to win the Silk and Flash and Go hair removal system, go to thedoctorstv.com. The Silk and Flash and Go hair removal system uses pulsed light to painlessly remove hair, and it's worth over $200.
And we're sending everyone in our audience home with one, so enjoy. Please stick around.
Coming up next, having trouble with odors in your home? We're prescribing the scent solution that may already be in your cupboard. Plus, from the newsroom to your living room, it's today's news in 2. That's next.
Hey everyone, if you're heading for Hollywood, California and would like to sit in our studio audience, log on to our website at thedoctorstv.com or call area code 323-THE-DOCS. That's 323-THE-DOCS for show tickets. Do we have a good time? You can't afford to miss the latest in our Doctor's News in 2. The Federal Communication recommends keeping your cell phone 5 to 25 millimeters away to limit radio frequency exposure. For years, many states tried, unsuccessfully, to pass laws that would require cell phone retailers to alert consumers of this information through packaging and enhanced labels. The Cellular Telephone Industries Association claims these laws would confuse consumers by implying that lower radiation levels are safer. Just this week, The City Council in Berkeley, California passed a safety ordinance law. Retailers in that city will now be required to inform consumers of the minimum separation distance. After learning of her breast cancer diagnosis, celebrity chef Sandra Lee was whisked off to Turks and Caicos by her partner of 10 years, New York Governor Andrew Cuomo. Diagnosed with ductal carcinoma in situ, or DCIS, Lee will undergo a double mastectomy this week. Cuomo tells People magazine that he intends to be present in the operating room, saying, "I plan on being the last person she sees before she goes to sleep and the first one up." In News and Two's magazine roundup, actress Ashley Tisdale opened the June issue of Health magazine about cell phones and health fears, saying it scares her to think about how much time she spends on the phone. The High School Musical star also shares her dislike of spinning, saying that it bulked her body up in places she didn't. And in the June issue of Glamour magazine, Jennifer Aniston shares how she stays fit with a little help from fiance Justin Theroux. Aniston tells the mag that Theroux makes her a kale salad with a poached egg and quinoa that's really delicious. And that's today's News in 2. I've been looking forward to this one all show. Such an easy little trick. It's one thing you can find in the bakery aisles, probably in your cupboard as we speak. Make the entire house, literally, make it smell heavenly. What do?
Take a shower.
Vanilla extract. Woo! And so all you do is this. You pour a couple of capfuls of the stuff in an oven-safe dish or mug. Put it in the oven, I guess at about 300 degrees. Let the oil warm in the oven for about an hour. Voila! A little touch of heaven smell in the room, in the house. It's going to smell amazing for the rest of the day.
Don't forget it in there.
You know what this is, though? This is actually an old realtor trick. So if you're not a fan of vanilla, the good news is you can try some other oil, lemon, lavender. Just make sure you're using an oven-safe dish while using this technique. Last thing I want is this thing to explode in the oven.
My wife's a realtor, and she's into lighting the candles when she shows a house. This could be a better